Override setting.
お待たせしました。世界一可愛いのは伊藤ちゃん。静かに光るメガリダム空っぽの三角地帯今夜も全然眠れないぜ巨大都市に見放されて僕らの存在は消えたあなたに残るだけどこなんと書いちゃって本当は寂しくて愛が欲しくて絶望を出したくてショートガンを右手に明日の平和を祈るんだ自由を追いかけて誰かにギュッとしてほしいって本当の愛を探すんだルクリーザここはブルクリーザー遠くに消えゆく純正感情はまるでないとかなんと書いちゃって強い何も全部見破ってほしくて 去ってくれる君をずっとずっと待ってるんだ自由を追いかけて誰かに優としてほしくて本当の愛を探すんだLook meどこなんか書いちゃって本当は寂しくて愛が欲しくて絶望を出したくてショットガンを右手に明日の平和を祈るんだ自由を追いかけて誰かに優としてほしくて本当の愛を探すんだ自由を追いかけて誰かに優としてほしくて本当の愛を探すんだLook me
Good morning, comrades. It's Wednesday, isn't it? It's Wednesday, the 21st of July, 2021. Good morning, G Wolf. Good morning, Watermelon Pickle. I don't know what you tried to post earlier there, so I just said good morning, G Wolf. But how's everything going, everybody? How are we doing today? It's a beautiful day. We're gonna make it I got some pretty fucked up news to deal with today. Louisiana legislature is really on some bullshit. I want to talk about this horrible anti-trans children bill that they have. Essentially, this had already gone through the legislature, and good morning in Japanese. Okay, yeah. Oh, in the Makito song, yeah, I love that song. But yeah, how's it going? How are we doing today? Let me know. Let's talk about it. I still need to put out the tweet. I got rolling a little bit late today, and the dogs are on their bullshit. I know I'm gonna have to be running in and out with Peter today. He's already got that vibe going. I didn't know you spoke Japanese though. That's pretty awesome, G Wolf. That's one of those languages that I didn't even I just never even got in the beginning of learning. Hold on, here comes Petey. This little guy had to go to the vet yesterday because we think that he ate. So we have like a water fountain for our cats, and they have these little filters, right, to sort of clean the water out so it's not like slimy and disgusting. And I guess we left the cabinet under the sink open, and probably this little guy, Petey. Hello, look at the camera, Petey. This little guy, we think, ate one of the filters for the for the water fountain. So we had to take him to the vet yesterday. And yeah, he was very nervous. He was pissing and shitting everywhere. He was very, very bad. He had to get a shot, and we need to give him medicine. So that's how things have been going for him lately. I say you do the crime, you got to do the time, right? But Petey says hello. He had a rough day. I see what you did there. A rough day. Watermelon pickle, very clever. But yeah, that was how. That was what I had to deal with right after our interview with Matt Strackbean yesterday. Like I had to dart out of the house and bring him to the vet for the appointment that we had made for 9:30. So that's how my day went yesterday. How's everybody here doing though? We're doing all right. We're surviving, getting through it. Yeah, actually my buddy, I got a buddy that lives in Japan now. Don't eat that PD is a common phrase. No shit, dude. Yeah, you telling me. I got a buddy that lives in Japan. I think he lives in Kyoto now. Works at a university down there. Good guy, man. We actually had him on the show, Wes in Japan. Check him out on Twitter at Wes in Japan. Great dude. We love him. Even though he's from Florida, I won't hold that against him just because he's such a good guy. But yeah. Just getting a tweet out. Good morning, Comrade is live. Jeff Bezos cock rocket. Free-to-lay workers on strike. Louisiana anti-trans bill. Oh, I might put it twitch.tv. Twitch.tv/Good Morning Comrade. All right. Ready to go, folks. We are ready to go. So, hey, what's up, Claydonius? How are you today? How you doing today? We're just getting started with the show. I'm looking at my work schedule, and I don't think I have work. I don't have anything scheduled for a little while, so I might go a little bit long today. I know that's exciting for all of you. But yeah, let's start with this. This is going to be short, but it's really important. So Louisiana. So just really quickly, how do I set this up? Nationwide, like throughout the United States, there's been a lot of these wonderful as always. That's good. Delivering the mail. You're a mail person? I didn't know you were a mail person. Oh, that's pretty cool. So all across the country, we've seen it all throughout that state legislatures have been putting forth efforts to essentially they've been cramming through these hate bills on the subject of transgender children in sports, and this sort of purported problem that they're trying to solve doesn't actually exist. Like they're saying, like Republicans mostly are saying that like they're trying to protect the integrity of women's sports and they're trying to protect children, which is absolutely ridiculous, by like forcing these literal gender checks, these weird bills where they would essentially make it so that we're making sure everything's essentially genital based identification of gender, which is not what gender is in any meaningful way. It's I don't want to get too much into the specifics of this because I'm going to talk about it very poorly. But the point of this is that it really does endanger children, And the Louisiana legislature passed a bill that was going to implement a lot of these measures, right? And the governor, John Bel Edwards, who is pretty conservative Democrat, actually. He's like very extremely pro-business, and he he's like he's a Democrat that's anti-abortion. He's like basically a Republican that is a Democrat in a lot of ways, just like without the edge. He's like a centrist Democrat. Well, anyway, he vetoed this bill on mostly on the grounds of businesses won't be coming here if we're implementing these kinds of measures. So he's basically saying, well, this is going to be bad for business, so we're going to have to, I'm not going to make a moral distinction one way or the other on this, but like I'm gonna definitely push the business side of this forward, which isn't optimal, but it's fine, right? So I actually have this article here. Louisiana legislators are convening a historic meeting at noon Tuesday. This is yesterday. This is actually passed the Senate, and it needs to go through the House now. By the governor's veto of a bill that forbids transgender youth from participating in organized women's sports. Though the decision by Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards is the target of the extraordinary veto override session. Literally, they called a session of the legislature after we have a part-time legislature in Louisiana. They were done, finished, they went home. The governor vetoed it. They called a special session to the only purpose of it was to veto this bill, or this bill that override the veto of this bill and one other one on the like broad availability of concealed carry, like statewide guns. I don't care so much about that one, to be totally clear. Anyway, though the decision by John Bel Edwards, governor, is the target of extraordinary veto right session, the transgender ban is an issue that also pits evangelical Protestants and conservative businessmen, two important Republican constituencies, against each other. So basically, they're trying to say, the news is that like there's a fracture inside the Republican caucus because this is like bad for business, but these religious psychos, so the business psychos like want to make money, and the religious psychos are like, we must hate trans people no matter what. True transgender discrimination is the only one of Edwards' 28 vetoes to attract attention. Republican lawmakers voice anger over his refusal to allow adults to conceal carry. Blah 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 blah. Not worried about that. The only issue specifically mentioned by both House Speaker Clay Schexnayder and Senate President Paige Cortez, both Republicans, is Senate Bill 156, which passed both chambers with more votes than needed to turn the, quote, Fairness in Women's Sports Act into law over Edwards' objections that discrimination is not a Louisiana value, which is decent rhetoric, right? It's not based off of, well, it's fine. Those wanting to overturn some of the governor's other vetoes have more narrow constituencies, blah, 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 blah. So that's sort of setting it up that we're in this sort of situation where the governor is like facing a veto, like an override of his veto, right? And so we've actually had great, action on the ground by groups like Louisiana Trans Advocates and the Real Name Campaign. So let's take a look at this.
Override session began this afternoon in Baton Rouge, and there was no delay in action.
You see video right here. Protesters from New Orleans pushed back against a bill that would ban transgender girls from joining girls' school sports teams.
Danny Monteverdi has the story from the state capitol.
State lawmakers have up to 5 days to make their cases during this veto session, but they made quick work Tuesday of the two biggest bills up for debate. Meanwhile, there were some fireworks in the House chamber as protesters clashed with security.
Senate Bill 156 has got to go.
Members of the Real Name Campaign, an advocacy group for transgender people, unfurled a banner in the House gallery Tuesday morning. They urged state lawmakers to keep Governor John Bel Edwards' veto of Senate Bill 156. That bill, authored by State Senator Beth Mazzell, would ban transgender girls from playing school sports, and it divided lawmakers.
Quite frankly, members, I'm convinced that this bill is a solution looking for a problem, and it is a political issue.
Senator Karen Carter Peterson warned it could hurt Louisiana and described it as a bill that could have a deep financial impact on New Orleans and all of the state.
You either want business to come to Louisiana or you want to discriminate. We're about to make a decision.
Ultimately, the Senate voted 26-12 to override the governor's veto. Mizell, who authored the bill, says it's one that constituents want.
If you have not heard the voices of the large majority of people in this state by emails, by
She's a fucking demon, by the way. Like, she's absolutely like dead in the eyes if you ever see her.
phone calls, by personal visits, there's no words I can give you.
Meanwhile, they voted
Oh, shit,
23-15 to keep in place the governor's
Protests.
There was no delay in action.
You see video right here. Protesters from New Orleans push back against a bill that would ban transgender girls from joining girls' school sports teams.
Danny Monteverdi has the story from the state capitol.
State lawmakers have up to 5 days to make their cases during this veto session, but they made quick work Tuesday of the two biggest bills up for debate. Meanwhile, there were some fireworks in the House chamber as protesters clashed with security.
Senate Bill 156 has got to go.
Members of the Real Name campaign, an advocacy group for transgender people, unfurled a banner in the House gallery Tuesday morning. They urged state lawmakers to keep Governor John Bel Edwards' veto of Senate Bill 156. That bill, authored by State Senator Beth Mazzell, would ban transgender girls from playing school sports, and it divided lawmakers.
Quite frankly, members, I'm convinced that this bill is a solution looking for a problem, and it is a political issue.
Senator Karen Carter Peterson warned it could hurt Louisiana and described it as a bill that could have a deep financial impact on New Orleans and all of the state.
You either want business to come to Louisiana or you want to discriminate. We're about to make a decision.
Ultimately, the Senate voted 26-12 to override the governor's veto. Mizell, who authored the bill, says it's one that constituents want.
If you have not heard the voices of the large majority
It's like
of
such
people,
bullshit. Like everything about her is just so absolutely fraudulent.
in this state, by emails, by phone calls, by personal visits, there's no words I can give you.
Meanwhile, they voted 23-15 to keep in place the governor's veto on a bill that would have loosened restrictions on concealed carry laws. The State House of Representatives will take up the trans youth sports bill Wednesday at 1 p.m. Reporting at the Capitol, Danny Monteverdi, Eyewitness News.
So like that they vote on this today. Essentially, it's already sailed through the Senate, the Louisiana Senate. It is going to be taken up in the Louisiana House as of, I think at noon today. But here's another article, just kind of highlighting it. This one is from LA Illuminator. This was actually posted by Louisiana Real Name Campaign Louisiana or New Orleans. There's a lot on here, but yeah. Louisiana transgender rights activists kicked out of Louisiana Capitol for protesting. A group of transgender rights protesters were forced out of the Louisiana House of Representatives at the start of veto override session Tuesday after shouting their opposition to 156, which would prevent transgender girls and women from playing girls and women's sports. 6 protesters on the balcony were from the Real Name Campaign New Orleans, a group fighting for accessible name and gender marker changes. A group waved a banner that read "Protect Trans Youth" from the House balcony before security guards dragged them down the stairs. One of the protesters forced out, David Eden Abram, said the group had planned to quietly go, but were aggressively treated despite complying with guards. Abraham said one protester in particular was manhandled and groped with a security guard restricting their airflow on the way out of the house. Wow. Quote, they continued to shove them, put them in a chokehold. I could hear them saying for a while, I can't breathe, asking them to take them out of the chokehold. Abraham said, at some point, I tried to get down the stairs. I was being shoved. They were shoving us into the marble walls. Yeah, those walls in the Capitol are like no fucking joke, too. They are serious. And from what I understand, like the Republicans don't have the votes. They haven't like gotten enough of the genuinely terrible conservative Democrats to flip on this. However, there's like a couple that are like wavering. It's like really like right down the line, like absolutely like nail biter close. But this is again inflicting like huge levels of violence on our kids. And like also they're inflicting huge levels of violence on our protesters, right? Let's see. Olivia Winter, who was photographing the protest for Real Name Campaign NOLA, said the activists made sure that all the protesters were physically unharmed before starting an impromptu rally on the Capitol steps, chanting and giving speeches they had wanted to give inside the House chamber. Quote, once we got outside and we regrouped, we made sure everyone was safe and okay. The rally lasted 40 minutes. This is actually pretty decent reporting. They're actually talking to the protesters, which is not what a lot of Louisiana media does, to be totally clear. Well, Abraham and Winter said they were there to defend trans youth. Abraham himself attended the public elementary and high school in Louisiana, saying his experience influenced the protest. Quote, those of us who had been in public schools in Louisiana know how difficult public schools are, and it's painful. That is true. The bill that they are trying to override the governor's veto on would further exclude transgender, nonconforming, and intersex children from school programs. And Louisiana public schools are already not safe places for queer children. Trans youth belong in all aspects of education, including sports. Yeah, and what it also does is stigmatizes those people. Like, why isn't this girl playing that's great at soccer or whatever, playing soccer? You know, like it's really silly. It's really ridiculous. It's a way to otherize and target our children. Although the Senate voted 26-12 to overturn John Bel Edwards' veto, Abraham said he and other activists were still hopeful the override will fail. Quote, we're confident that the House will pull through for us. Abraham said, we're going to keep fighting like hell for queer youth. Hell yeah. Sergeant at Arms was hiding. Yeah, there's a couple videos on their Facebook that you want to pull up. Content warning on this one, and if it gets like too intense, I'm gonna definitely pull it back. But that's something that was like no, I didn't see anything that would actually. Yeah, there's a lot of reporting on this. Group interrupts. Yeah, so they definitely got their point across. We'll find out today how this plays out, but holy shit, man, like the sort of targeting and attack on trans folks in this state and across the country. It's not just Louisiana. I don't want to like oversay it, but like it's just really, really gross and it's really disgusting, and it's something that we need to be actively fighting against. Period. I mean, that's pretty common sense, but it doesn't seem like that's always like kept in the front of the thing and in front of people's minds. But yeah, that's I'm glad those folks are out there fighting. You know what I mean? All right, let's talk about Frito-Lay workers. So this is actually a story that gets me like super pissed off too. Because essentially, so Frito-Lay is, the chip company, right? They are right now, they have hundreds of workers that are on strike due to absolutely insane working conditions. Let me pull up this video actually. They had one by our friends over at More Perfect Union that we're talking about the absolutely dreadful, absolutely fucking horrible conditions that workers are having to deal with out there. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Frito-Lay,
Company said-
Frito-Lay is working people to death.
We're shocked they went on strike. How are you shocked? Did you think that we would go to 90 hours before we would hit the streets? Forced overtime causes divorces. It caused people to kill themselves that used to work
Causing
here.
chip shortages, womp, womp, womp.
Okay, there have been several employees that have killed themselves, okay, that have worked here over the years. Okay, this is a continual thing. It destroys marriages, it destroys families.
We have to do something with the suicide shifts because
They're
work
literally calling them suicide shifts. Holy shit, dude.
12 hours and be off 8 and work 12 hours. You got time, travel time and everything. I said that's a safety risk.
Imagine being an employee in here that has not had a day off for 5 months. That is the reality of what you're seeing. That is the reality of why you're really seeing the picket over here.
4 or 5 years ago, we had a guy, and man, he was working all the time, and he stopped off at a rest stop on I-70, and he fell asleep, and he didn't wake up.
Oh my god.
Company wants to call it a
so
squeeze.
dangerous. Like not just for the individual driving, but also just for anybody who happens to be in the area that's crazy. Like you should, if you're driving, you should not be worked to the point where you're sleepy at the wheel.
Shift. It's nothing squeezing about it. It's suicide.
Oh, they're on the point system. I mean, I think probably most of us have worked at a place that's on the point system, right? If you don't, you get points by working at some place for a long enough time. And like if you call out sick or whatever, it costs you like 5 points or something like that. It's really brutal. It's like a bullshit way to make things objective or whatever. And yeah, it doesn't actually account for the reality of things that humans need to do. 31 days of work in a row for 1 point. What the fuck? What? It's worse than that, G Wolf. 1 point a month. If you opt out of forced overtime, you get a point or you lose a point. Damn.
Yeah, the point system is used to fire people.
We're getting penalized for taking time off.
I've had to cancel so many doctor appointments, dentist appointments that I could not make them because of the forced overtime. Walking out the plant last second, hey, you're forced over. Things need to change. This is not a way to treat people.
My daughter made my sign, and the boot represents Frito-Lay, and under the boots is the people standing, which is us, the workers, the union. We can stop the boot with the help of the community, with all the people in the union. Yeah, we can do it. We can stop the boot.
We are seeing the impact of our unity now. There's no chips in the stores. They can barely get things up and running. But we now see our unity. We now see where our strength is. And I'm sure once we get to go back in there, which we will get to go back in there, we'll be stronger than before.
You'll never work a non-union job. I mean, yeah, if I can help it, I will always work a union job. But yeah, basically the goal for me at least is to make every job a union job. If you work a non-union job, organize your workplace. You got to do it. And this seems to be what happened here. I mean, I think this is a union job, actually. Hold on. This is a union job. This is a union job. 100% it is. And they're still just putting forced overtime on people. They're just leaning on it, and it's brutal. I mean, she had BCTCM shirt on right there.
before.
There you go. There was a tweet actually that MPU put out that I don't want to see that. That MPU put out. Where is it? I just had it up. Oh, what did I do with this? Why can't I navigate this goddamn website? There it is. All right. I'm too ADHD for this. More Perfect Unions obtained timesheets confirming Frito-Lay's rampant abuse of mandatory overtime. Frito-Lay claimed that reports of forced overtime were grossly exaggerated, and these timesheets prove them wrong. The F next to each name stands for forced, so you can, I mean, it's hard to see here, but like all of these highlighted down here are forced overtime, forced overtime, forced overtime, forced overtime. They're just like killing people, like literally killing people. All these down in this column, Fs for forced overtime. Not easy to see, but yeah. Article here. This is from Labor Notes. that's a great image. I think, yeah, they had this one here too. Frito-Lay workers in Topeka, Kansas have been on strike since Monday over low pay and forced overtime. Some workers have been forced to work 12-hour shifts 7 days a week for weeks on end due to short staffing. They want to see that change. Let's look at Alex's article. So, as Frito-Lay production plant in Topeka, Kansas workers are subjected to something called suicides shifts. Like they're literally calling them fucking suicide shifts. They're literally making people work. Like the workers are calling them suicide shifts. They're having like cases of suicides that they're dealing with during this time. It's absolutely insane. In which they come for 8 hours, are forced to work from 4 or more hours, and then are called in 4 hours early, leaving them only 8 hours between shifts. This is like literally 16-hour days, or 12 hours. Wait, I can't do math. It's 16-hour days. Yeah, this is how company forces overtime to the point that many of those workers say they work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, with some not having had a day off in 5 months, weekends included. The company recently sent us a letter saying those shifts are called squeeze shifts, which is also not optimal, right? That's not a great name for this kind of shift you're trying to put people on, is it? It doesn't sound particularly good to me. I don't know. Squeeze shifts. Like a squeeze play in baseball or something? What the fuck? None of us has heard of that term before, says Samuel Huntsman, who worked at the plant for 3 years. I think they're trying to make it sound better. Huh. Interesting. The company recently sent us a letter saying those shifts are called. Well, yeah. What prompted the letter was workers' willingness to speak out about the anxiety that pervades their shop. One of the reasons they are now on a strike that is entering its third week. The plant employs some 850 people, and workers have spoken of the deleterious effects of such inhumane working conditions. As Mark McCarter, a 59-year-old palletizer and union steward at the plant who has worked there for 37 years, told Vice, quote, "It seems like I go to one funeral a year for someone who's had a heart attack at work, or someone who went home to their barn and shot themselves in the head or hung themselves." I mean, yeah, if your life is nothing but work, like if that's the only thing that you're yeah, absolutely right, Claydonius. Like brutality, like absolutely brutal on the part of the boss here, on the part of the company. Yeah, how do people do that? You'd be dead in 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna make it to that. Forced overtime interferes with your health and your household, explains Huntsman. It leads to fights on the shop floor, too, he adds, with fighters getting in arguments because they're so cranky and mad and tired. Others at the plant have spoken of divorces caused by their schedules in addition to the suicides. Workers say they have urged Frito-Lay to hire new workers to lighten the load, but the company hasn't budged. Remember when companies were talking about, oh, nobody wants to work, and and Frito-Lay literally like won't hire people to make this absolutely horrible situation like less brutal. The workers' mental health isn't their only concern. When a coworker collapsed and died, you had us move the body and put in another coworker to keep the line going, writes Sherry Renfro, one of the striking workers. What? Shaded said they didn't stop when the line worker died. What? Dear Frito-Lay, so you are shocked that your employees voted to strike for the first time at this plant. I'm shocked you're so out of touch with your employees that you didn't see this coming. This is from Sherry Renfro. This storm has been brewing for years. It began when you started giving lump sums instead of raises, when you lowered wages for new hires coming in, when you supported an iron fist management that has created a toxic work environment. Here's a few examples. Making us work in a dense smoke fumes during and after a fire because you stated it's just smoke. When a coworker collapsed and died, you had us move the body and put in another coworker to keep the line going. Wow. During the COVID-19 lockdown, a coworker's father passed away in another state. You told her since there wasn't a funeral, she didn't qualify for bereavement time. She had to take off 2 of her own days to grieve. Holy shit, dude. We worked during the entire COVID-19 quarantine while office personnel worked from home. We didn't get hazard pay, bonuses, rewards, or recognitions. We worked through the deep freeze, struggling keep warm and everything running, getting forced over and into the weekend again. While an upper management received a recognition award for, quote, his dedication to come in on his weekend to keep our plant running. How you fill your workhouses with carts of cardboard and product blocking walkways, exits, and work areas. When you point out it's not safe, you shrug your shoulders and say, it's push week. Why do we even have an OSHA if it's a toothless organization? Something like that could happen. I mean, depends. So that's a good question. Like, at its worst, OSHA is like a fig leaf that basically says, oh, we actually have labor standards in this country to make sure that workers are safe. At its best, it can actually like provide those protections and like raise those standards. But like, it really depends on how those on how OSHA is being run. Honestly, I mean that's the answer to the question. How do you bring inexperienced temporary drivers, leading to 2 injuries, one of them major, and more accidents, including a hit to major structure beam, bending it and damaging the forklift? Oh, OSHA is definitely underfunded. The fact that you offer paternity leave to all employees except those at union plants. Oh, that's weird. Why would you do that? Why would you offer paternity leave to everybody except for the ones that have unions? Sounds like you're doing union busting over there, right? You're like offering things to places that don't have unions? Weird. Your negotiator told us that it isn't that Frito-Lay can't afford to give us raises. It's that there's that he is there to protect the stockholder investments. Fuck stockholders. Like literally, like fuck stockholders, man. Like these people are literally on the ground working in those conditions every single day. And like all stockholders did was like place a bet. Like fuck that shit, dude. That's crazy. Meanwhile, you have held down our wages a year after year by refusing to give us cost of living raises. One classification got a total of 20 cents in a decade. We no longer offer competitive wages to balance the stress of unpredictable long hours, 12-hour days, 7 days a week. Whew, this is a brutal letter, man. This is a brutal letter. You have no problem paying for drug tests, background checks, orientation, and training for 350 plus employees that you hired and lost this past year. You fly in temporary workers, paying for hotel rooms, car rentals, wages, food, and more, training for people who have no investment here. You have a problem giving decent living wages to keep loyal employees, already trained, already here. You are a fool to not do more to keep your employees from walking out the door because many are never coming back, not with a job market so rich right now. After numerous informational pickets and contract offers that we voted down, you said, that's it, take it or leave. So it was time to do a strike vote. First, you allowed us time off to vote if we signed a sheet. Then, at the last minute, you took down those sheets and said no one is allowed time off to vote. Like literally throwing people in, like just throwing every possible wrench into the works, which you would expect from the boss, but you still want to call him on it. Your threats and bully tactics only fuel our fire. You have pushed us into a corner, and we came out swinging. And now you're shocked. Yeah, that's a great letter. Holy shit, dude, that's a great letter. You met a guy who worked at Exide Battery, got set on fire because management was knowingly letting damaged welding torches stay on the floor instead of fixing them and taking them out of commission. Yeah, anything to save a buck. Like literally, your life doesn't matter if it can like move up move the line up instead of down. Like fuck that shit, man. Like if a worker dies at a plant, like on the job, you would think that like Frito-Lay would have a problem with that, but apparently it's not. Just shove them aside. We'll get them shipped away in a minute. Holy shit, dude. Holy shit. Fuck. Work. Jesus. The company says it wholly rejects the allegation, but Renfro is not the only one who has raised it. So, like, this is a story that the one of the worker that collapsed and died is corroborated by other workers too. The OSHA is currently investigating an incident that took place in May at the facility. Hold on. Has previously fined the plant for cases involving amputation and vehicular accidents. No wonder workers set up a skeleton on the picket line with a sign that reads, "Working us to the bone," the picture that we saw at the top. The Topeka plant production has only increased during the pandemic, whereas people who were used to working overtime around the holidays. They say that they are now being pushed to their limits year-round as people across the United States upped their intake of products made, packaged, and shipped out of Topeka's Lay's potato chips, Tostitos, Cheetos, Sun Chips, Fritos, Doritos. The result for the workers was misery. For the company, it was more than $4.2 billion in sales, partially responsible for a 14% spike in revenue for its parent company, PepsiCo, a Fortune 500 company with a rising stock. Oh, man, they're doing great. They're doing awesome. They're making money. Why are they forcing workers to work crazy hours? Because it's making them crazy money. And they're not increasing the wages. They're only making it so that the workers have to work more. They're not hiring more people by paying higher wages. They're just saying, you know what, the workers we have here, we're going to juice them like they're a fucking lemon. We're going to make sure that we use them all the way up. Their entire reason for existing is to up our profits and make us more money. Yeah, line going up it always has been that way, G Wolf. It's always been that way because like making the line go up is more important, literally more important than the lives of the people that make the line go up. The line goes nowhere without the workers that they're just using up as though it's like a resource, like it's material to be expended. The people with all of the power, the people that have all of the possibility to do all of this shit, by which without the workers, none of this shit happens ever at all. Without the workers, none of this shit happens. But essentially, they're treated as a resource, as though like they are put on this earth for the sole purpose of like working a fucking factory line to make chips go through. Despite such good fortune, the company continues to treat workers with less care than it treats its machines. And machines are more expensive, honestly. The workers, I mean, they can deal with their own healthcare or whatever. There is no concern for upkeep, only for wringing every last bit of labor from their bodies, even if it kills them, to be worked to death to produce potato chips. It is hard to imagine something so insulting and cruel. Yeah. And again, these are fucking demons, man. These are like Frito-Lay is fucking demons. Now there's no more room to push the workers without hurting them. Yeah. The company's latest proposed contract offers a mere 2% wage increase this year, and caps the number of hours someone can be forced to work at 60 a week. It's not nearly enough, Many of the workers make under $20 an hour. So like dying on the job or even having to work with like fellow coworkers that literally die on the job for $20 an hour. That ain't shit, dude. And haven't seen a raise in a decade. The company prefers small bonuses that keep the pay scale from rising. Yeah, because it's a one-time payout. You don't have to pay newer employees more money. You literally are just like doing a tiny, they do this to teachers a lot, actually. They don't want to ever give us like an actual raise because that would come with like year over year expenses. Like you would have to actually budget for that. But if you have a little bit extra, you can just like give the workers like a little tiny bit of gas money, throw them a fucking bone here, and not have to ever worry about it again. The company prefers small bonuses. Yeah. Among growing number of manufacturing facilities and warehouses in the area, Home Depot and Target distribution centers, a Goodyear tire plant, and Mars chocolate facility, and Bimbo bread are among them. The pay at the Frito-Lay plant is low and turnover is high. As Mark Benaka, business manager for bakery, confection, tobacco workers, and grain millers, BCTGM, that's the union, Local 218, which represents some 600 of the Topeka workers, tells Labor Notes, quote, between all these industries, Frito-Lay sits at the bottom of the ladder as far as wage scales. This is why the workers are demanding a minimum of $1 to $2 an hour raises, which is like not that much, right? $1 to $2 an hour for a Fortune 500 company is fucking pennies. That is nothing. That is like a drop in the bucket for them. But, that might make their line go a little less up, for the Wall Street gambling, I guess. Recent matters have only intensified the problem at the plant. For instance, while management would stay home during the pandemic, workers could not. Some say they received no hazard pay or bonuses, that was in the letter, while others speak of receiving a meager extra $100 a week, but only for a few weeks. Now, during a particularly hot summer, the plant lacks air conditioning. According to McArthur, at 7 a.m., our warehouse is 100 degrees. We don't have air conditioning. We have cooks in the kitchen on the fryers that are 130 or 140 degrees, making chips and sweating like pigs. Meanwhile, the managers have AC. How's Pepsi supposed to get into space if they give them right? Yeah, I mean, like, that's the goal, right? Every CEO should get a fucking, like, it's not even private jets anymore. It's like actual rocket ships to blast off into space. And workers get fucking shit. They get literally shit on. They go get cooked in the heat. These conditions have led workers, after holding informational pickets and voting down previous contract offers, to withdraw their labor. In late June, workers voted 353 to 30 in favor of authorizing a strike. That work stoppage began at midnight on July 5th. Mandatory OT is an issue at the shops represented by BCGTM, which is some 70,000 members. Workers elsewhere say they too are being forced to work every day and over 60 hours a week. While some workers want to work more hours they make an overtime rate, mandatory hours of this sort are unconscionable. It is always hard to organize in a right-to-work state, but it is shameful that a union shop has reached this state, and a situation that suggests, at best, internal tensions within BCTGM over how to win this issue. Yeah, there's a little bit of strife inside the union because there's no, like, yeah, you're right. Human capital. Human capital is like the most dehumanizing term I have ever that they could possibly come up with. Thank you, by the way, DS. How you doing today? In a statement on the strike, BCGTM President Anthony Shelton, who took over the position after the previous president, David Durkee, passed away last year, said the workers at the Frito-Lay plant, quote, do not have enough time to see their family, do chores around the house, run errands, or even get a healthy night's sleep. This strike is about working people having a voice in their futures and taking a stand for their families. The union has repeatedly asked the company to hire more workers, yet despite record profits, Frito-Lay management has refused this request. As the strike enters the third week, workers say it has strong support in both the community and it gains attention nationally, but most importantly, among the shop's workforce. Around half the workforce is out on strike. Around 600 of the workers in the right to work state are local 218 members. A number Huntsman says is growing by the day. So union's growing. That's good. Although the company says production continues, some workers saying that is a ruse. It's psychological warfare. They're trying to demoralize and despirit the men and women of the union in hopes that we'll come groveling back for whatever crumbs they offer us. Monk Drepo Stewart, that's a great name. A box drop technician at the plant says. There will be no smoke, no steam, no nothing, no sign of production at all coming from the plant either, he adds. Huntsman estimates the company began getting into getting enough scab labor out of town. Oh, God, they're fucking doing scabs too. Like workers from other Frito-Lay plants and bosses from the company late last week to start running one or two of the plant's kitchens at reduced hours, but believes the production remains far below usual level. You know what should happen to the scabs? Like, I have like super strong opinions that like scabs just deserve like beatings in Minecraft, of course. While the local, I'm like old school on that though. I just think I'm very old school in Minecraft on that issue. Like scabs are just like the absolute bottom, like just disgusting. And the boss is really the problem. I mean, like obviously, but for hiring the scab, so like, yeah, I hate it. While the local hasn't issued a formal call for a boycott, some workers at the Topeka plant are calling for exactly that. Okay, so there's a split. All right, I'm back. There's like one of the things about boycotts is that, you know, people like to call for them like on a whim. And it's sort of like one of those things like obviously the impulse right now is to not buy Frito-Lay products and things like that, which, I mean, you're free to do that if you want to make these like decisions, but like a boycott is something entirely different. Like a boycott is like organized and led by workers, and that's actually meaningful and actually has some kind of like point to it. I don't really see a point in just making these like basic individual consumer decisions. It doesn't matter. It's like nothing can matter less. Like if it makes you feel better to not eat Frito-Lay products, go for it. Like, who cares? But like, good for you, you know, whatever. But like a boycott is something entirely different. A boycott is organized. That's actually got a point and it actually has demands beyond an individual. So just wanted to throw that out there. Local hasn't called for a formal boycott. Some workers at the Topeka plant are calling for exactly that. Per McCarter, the palletizer, quote, "We would rather nobody buy any Frito-Lay products, Fritos, Doritos, Tostitos, Funyuns, Cheetos, all those, while we're on strike. We make all those in Topeka, Kansas. We also would rather nobody buys PepsiCo products while we're on the line." You know, PepsiCo's shittier than Coke anyway. I'm sure Coke's got terrible workplace conditions as well. But Pepsi's just worse. PepsiCo is the owner of Frito-Lay, with support for such a call. President on the picket line. Anyone concerned with the ability of their fellow human being to survive should abide by that request. These workers are fighting for their lives, and they need all the support they can get. Workers are also asking the public to call PepsiCo's board of directors to urge them to bargain a fair and reasonable contract. A local magazine, 785, has also set up a fund to help strikers water utility bills. So here is that. Want to support those workers, you can send them some cash. That skeleton is great. They need a scabby. Negotiations resume Friday, the first bargaining session since the strike began 2 weeks ago. Workers are hopeful but firm about what they need. Aside from their demands for significant raises, caps on forced overtime, and change in disciplinary procedures, Huntsman hopes the workers can win paid paternity leave. While Frito-Lay offers paid paternity leave to workers in its non-union shops, it does not do so at the Topeka plant. As for why that is, the reason is obvious. Union busting is disgusting. They're punishing us because they want the union gone, says Huntsman. In other words, the company wants to convince workers that only without a union can they win maternity and paternity leave, an insidious strategy for undermining collective power used by employers to push workers to decertify their union and, in doing so, give up their seat at the table. That's right. They're trying to squash the union local. But with support for the strike growing, the workers in Topeka are undaunted, as Raina Corpus, one of the striking Frito-Lay workers, explains in displaying her sign on the picket line, which shows a black boot. That was the woman that we saw in that video. The boot represents Frito-Lay, and under the boot is the people standing, which is us, the workers, the union. We can stop the boot, she says, with the help of the community, with all the people in the union. Yeah, we can do it. We can stop the boot. Wow. I mean, that's fucking wild, man. Yeah, here's the fund that you can give. They've reached the goal apparently. They've raised 42,000. I mean, the longer the strike goes, the more money they're going to need. Stand in solidarity with your neighbors. BCTGM 218 is on strike beginning July 5th. They've been on strike for several weeks. The importance of solidarity and collective bargaining is paramount, and we understand the financial hardship many will endure while fighting for fair labor rights. 785 asks you to join us in helping pay one utility bill for each local 218 member in the month of July. Click donate to learn more. That's good. That's good. Yeah, links in the chat. Good job on this magazine. What is? I'm not familiar with this magazine. Is it a local? It's okay. It's in Topeka. It's like a local magazine. Do they have any articles on this? Oh, they have the donor wall. Look at that Frito-Lay King. I mean the Chester Cheetah Kingpin. Best I can do, 2%. Yeah, we're worth more than 2%. No shit. Yeah, they all cool. They have a donor wall. That rules. They even have businesses that are signed up on there. That's good. Good shit. Good shit. All right. Do I have to do this? Do I have to do this one? Do I have to cover this motherfucker? This dumb motherfucker? This like absolute psychopath? All right, I'm gonna do it.
Congratulations, guys. What a momentous day. I know.
God, oh, Jesus. Like, look, this cowboy hat, like, he looks like he's like, I don't know, man. Like, this is going to be some cringe. This is definitely going to be some cringe.
Certainly, we were so excited to see this entire flight happen from the ground.
It was incredible.
I'm curious, and now we can add astronaut to the long list of accomplishments for both of you, but
yeah.
the fact that this is a lifelong dream now realized, the success of this mission, what does that mean for you, and what does it also mean for this company that you have built and funded, Blue Origin?
Well, this is the first step. This is a tiny little step of what Blue Origin is going to do. And what we're really trying to do is build reusable space vehicles. It's the only way to build a road to space. And we need to build a road to space so that our children can build the future. And what that's all about is this planet, and you can see it. When we're up there, you see how tiny this planet's atmosphere is. You know, here it seems big. You look around, it's all around you, and it's but it's really the small thing supporting all life. So we need to take all polluting industry, all heavy industry, and move it off Earth. This is going to take many decades, but that's what we can do if we have reusable space vehicles. And so this suborbital tourism mission lets us practice that. So we need to do that over and over and over and get as good at running space vehicles as we are as a civilization at running commercial airliners. And then we can have, you know, this dynamic civilization of the future, a better world for all of our kids.
Yeah, I mean, just to dig into that a little bit more as well.
Motherfucker looks just like Lex Luthor, doesn't he? He looks just like fucking like Lex Luthor from the comics.
I mean, you're an innovator. You're known throughout the business world for quite literally revolutionizing the way people live on a daily basis.
Why is this reporter just like sucking his entire dick and balls about like how great of a billionaire he is too? Like that's just so fucked up to me.
So how does that process, I guess, carry out or manifest over the coming decades from a space perspective?
Well, there's New Shepard, which is what Alan Shepard did, and the next thing we're working on is called New Glenn. And New Glenn is a reusable vehicle for orbital space travel. So that's the very next step as far as Blue Origin is concerned. And really, though, we need to build the infrastructure. You know, when Amazon started, we didn't have to build a package delivery network. It already existed. That was infrastructure. And if you want to be a space entrepreneur today, you have to do everything from the very beginning. There's no real infrastructure that's at an affordable cost. So that's what we have to do is build that kind of infrastructure, and then future generations will get to rest on top of it.
It's a bold vision. It's an ambitious vision. How much of
And it's also fun.
And it's fun.
It had so much fun.
Fuck this dude, man. Like he's just like memeing and like fucking trying to be epic. Like where's the here's the one. Here's the one. So here's Business Insider. So this dude's just like blasting off in his fucking giant dick rocket.
Fun today.
But I'm curious, how much
God,
of your
he's not even a fucking human. Like it's like he's actually so like bizarrely alien. I have no idea. Probably reported like no, this is literally she knows he's single. This is literally like sycophantic media, like just like totally and utterly just like lapdog media who's just, I mean, it's CNBC, so that tells you something already, right? CNBC is literally just there to cheerlead capital, but like I don't know, man.
how much of
And
your
it's also fun.
And it's fun.
We had so much fun today.
But I'm curious, how much of your time are you now dedicating to this vision?
Well, I have, since I stepped down as the CEO of Amazon, I have a lot of time to dedicate to this vision. So I'm going to split my time between this and the Bezos Earth Fund, which is the Climate Sustainability Foundation.
Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. Best part of this flight.
Best part? That's all of it, yes?
Yeah, all of it. As I said, I think my favorite part was the first 11 minutes of the flight. It's basically from launch to landing.
Tell what you told me in the car about zero G. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I thought that was well said.
It was. I was surprised once we were in zero G. I was surprised at how effortless it was to move around, how naturally it came. I thought that it would be a little more awkward and I'd be flailing around a little more, but it was really just incredibly natural just to move around. It
almost felt like we were evolved.
I know.
It was weird. It felt so comfortable
surprising.
and natural and not alien and beautiful, floating, free.
Okay. Are you gonna do it again?
So one of the weird fucking things that he also said in all of this was that he like thanked every Amazon employee and customer for like saying, "You built all of this, man." Like so cringe. Like somebody who's literally entire business model is to like fuck over the post office and like give them a shitty deal on such a large scale, and then also like work your workers to the point where they are like pooping and peeing in bottles and bags, and like basically similar situation to the Amazon. I'm sorry, the Frito-Lay story that we just fucking talked about, right? And it's just like giddy billionaires. Yeah, absolutely disgusting. Like, look at him fucking laughing. Like, look at this fucking dude. Yeah. So after Amazon and Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos flew in suborbital space, he didn't even go to real fucking space, dude. He went to like fake space. He went to like baby space. Like, the 1960s, the actual, like, when the state was actually pushing for space travel and exploration, like, we got all the way to the fucking moon. Like, NASA got to the fucking moon, and this little baby here, this individual piece of shit, like, gets to like, oh, I got to the outer reaches of basically like not even actually space, suborbital space or whatever the hell, and he's just like, look at that, I'm awesome, me as an individual. He said, quote, I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer because you guys paid for all this. He said during a post-flight press conference. There's a clip here. Let's look at that. He's so out of touch. He's so like not human. He's an absolute fucking android.
Every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all this. So seriously,
He's
for
like,
every
he's almost like he's like memeing on like every single person that's ever that's like this was is there more to this on ABC? Yeah, okay.
Today, civilian space travel reached new heights.
This fucking reporting, man. Like, civilian space travel. Like, literally, this motherfucker has gotten contract. He made his entire fortune off of fucking contracts like that he made with the fucking with the post office.
Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon and the space company Blue Origin, made history by launching into space with 3 other civilian crew members, the richest man on the planet getting an out-of-this-world experience.
I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer because you guys paid for all this.
God, such a fucking psycho, man. Like, literally, the work, like, you paid for this, workers, by essentially working your entire life away in absolutely horrible conditions while we busted your union.
2017, the tech titan told ABC News that he sells $1 billion of Amazon stock a year to fund the program, leading some to wonder if this is just an opportunity for the ultra-rich, or is Bezos' work contributing?
No, that's exactly what it is. It's just an opportunity for the ultra-rich. It's not about any actual human being who would ever like have an actual chance at doing anything like this. No, it's only for billionaires. Yeah, wondering. Yeah, just like the way that the press has covered this is just like, wow, how do we like put Jeff Bezos over as how wonderful and great he is? It's like terrible. It's horrible.
Contributing to furthering space research.
People, I think, like to complain like, oh, a billionaire going to space. Why do I care about that? It's not about the going. It's about creating a system down here that brings more people than the government can bring.
Wait. More people than the government can bring. The government has already brought dozens of people to space on multiple different multiple different projects. Why is it that like Jeff Bezos can bring 2 people up and be like, oh, well, that's democratizing space, as opposed to the actual democratizing of space, which is when the government, which purportedly represents the people, and we know that it doesn't actually do that, but the government that purportedly represents the people can actually do that, can actually have a broad space program that would bring people into outer space if you wanted to do that. She's saying that people have more money and power than the government. Yeah, right. No, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Up to space.
Command and start. 2,
Look at that fucking penis though. Like it's literally the most phallic thing I've ever. It looks like a terrible dildo. It really does. Like like what is up with these dudes? And they're just like absolute dick fantasies.
Shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time, the New Shepard, named after Alan Shepard, the first American in space, lifted off, beginning its ascent to the edge of the atmosphere. Joining Bezos on board, his brother Mark, and a history-making duo, 18-year-old Oliver Damon.
Yeah, it needed to look like literally it's the Dr. Evil rocket, right? I mean, I've seen so many people memeing that it's the Dr. Evil rocket because it literally is.
The youngest person to go to space, and 82-year-old Wally Funk, the oldest. Minutes later, the capsule separated from the booster.
Here, catch.
And the crew began experiencing microgravity.
That's incredible. Space.
At about 328,000 feet, they passed the Kármán line, the internationally recognized boundary between Earth and space.
So technically, according to the world government, man, we made it to space, bro. Yeah, they needed. Yeah.
Around 7 minutes into the flight, the booster touched back down on Earth. The capsule.
Also, again, like Jeff Bezos is getting like all of this credit for like the actually genuinely like good science. Like the scientists that do this shit are like scientists, right? They could be doing the same exact shit for the government, but they're not, because the only game in town right now is these billionaires that basically like shut down the space program within NASA and just contracted it out to fucking psychos like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Like it's crazy, man.
Holding Bezos' team followed shortly after, floating down gently.
You're just gonna plop.
The cowboy hat is so much, man. The cowboy hat is so fucking much. It like he's trying to make a statement or something.
It was the trip of a lifetime for Funk, who waited decades for this day. In 1961, Funk became the youngest member of the Mercury 13, the first group of women to be put through rigorous astronaut training as part of a Women in Space program, designed to determine if women were as capable of handling space travel as men.
I mean, that just sounds so fucking like old-timey, right? Can women go to space? I mean, men can go to space. Can ladies do it too? Well,
Despite completing the training, Funk would never get the chance to fly because the program was canceled. Yet she prevailed, becoming the first female air safety investigator for the NTSB and the first female inspector for the FAA.
Ta-da! Wally!
And now,
I'm going to be in that window.
she's finally an astronaut too.
she's literally there to be the feel-good part of this story, by the way. Like she's being used to be like, look at that, Jeff Bezos making, people's dreams come true or whatever. Like, this is, I don't know. It's very Make-A-Wish shit.
I've had in my life. I've had lots of them.
Seeing Wally in space meant everything to me, and I think will mean so much to so many women.
Bezos and his brother Mark spoke to my colleague Michael Strahan.
Greatest day ever.
Oh my God, Michael Strahan. Remember when he was like an actual killer on the football field, and then they just like totally softened him into this like morning television like fucking Regis Philbin guy?
Amazing. I mean, speechless in a way. I don't have the talent to put into words what we just experienced.
There are a lot of people who look and they go, you know what? Billionaire, spending a lot of money to go to space. But this is bigger than that.
Things like this inspire kids, and that's a big deal. The other thing that's a big deal is we need to get good at going to space so that we can save the Earth.
Bezos, who's...
Whoa, man, we got to get it going to space so that we... How fucking high is he?
His name is arguably synonymous with the online retail behemoth Amazon, began building his empire nearly 30 years ago. He has since built Amazon from an online bookstore into a global giant worth more than 1.7 trillion.
Adrenochrome really fucked with him, man. Like, he looked kind of like a normal fucking dunce, like over here, like a normal fucking dumb fuck. And then now he just looks like a
years
super
ago.
villain.
He has since built Amazon from an online bookstore into a global giant worth more than $1.7 trillion. He has made headlines in recent years, first with the 2019 announcement of his multi-billion-dollar divorce from his wife of 26 years, Mackenzie Scott, and most recently revealing he planned to step down as Amazon CEO in February.
What do you think led to that retirement as CEO? He's close to 60 years old. His personal passion, his hobby has always been space and Blue Origin.
Like most of America's ultra-wealthy, Bezos has come under fire most recently last month, accused of not paying his fair share in federal income taxes. According to a ProPublica report from 2014 to 2018, Bezos amassed $99 billion in wealth growth, but paid $973 million of that in taxes, equaling a tax rate of less than 1%.
Literally just doesn't they're pushing hard against the billionaire and space narrative. Yeah, that they know is true. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, this is actually like, I mean, obviously taxes are not necessarily justice. My biggest fucking problem is that some individual, one person can make $99 billion in a year. Like, people are fucking like, housing insecurity has gone up so significantly during like the COVID pandemic, during the crisis. Like, there's been like a super housing crisis. Rents have skyrocketed. And this motherfucker just like rakes in a bunch of money by pushing a bunch of papers and like moving a couple of numbers around. Like, fuck this dude, man. And then this is why he gets to go to space. This is why the government has trouble funding the space program. Yeah, that dude should have. Yeah, exactly.
This, coupled with negative headlines over the years about Amazon workplace conditions, casting a shadow over his achievements. Last year, Bezos responded to the criticism, writing, "The fact is, the large team of thousands of people who lead operations at Amazon have always cared."
Well, that plus also, G Wolf, like the government literally, like, because it's so controlled by this neoliberal consensus that basically agrees. You know, Republicans, Democrats, at least the highest levels, agree that the government can't do anything good. And basically agree that people like Jeff Bezos are like way better at doing in their companies or whatever, are way better than doing things that the government can ever do, which is not true. It's basically the prevailing politics. So essentially, they're not going to even try. So that, like, literally, NASA has just been changed from the leading. It's by design, totally. It's been changed from like the leading fucking world space exploration system. You know, the number one, the number one sort of government agency in the world for doing, you know, space exploration, and it's essentially been like gutted and privatized and given to people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk's and Richard. Well, you know, Richard Branson's not U.S., but actually he probably does get contracts with the U.S. I don't know. I have to look that one up.
Deeply for our hourly employees, and we're proud of.
They're based. It's a public-private partnership. You know, I mean, the term that everybody knows and loves: public-private partnership between like, which also means, by the way, that contracts get to be cut specific. I mean, especially with Elon Musk and his SpaceX shit. And by the way, like, Elon Musk is gonna probably go to like some next level of space now because he can't be like big dicked by Jeff Bezos.
Of the work environment we've created. Despite what we've accomplished, it's clear to me that we need a better vision for our employees' success.
How about unions, motherfucker? Despite what you've accomplished, which is making billions of dollars, we need a better vision for our employees' success. How about giving them more fucking money? How about giving them better health care? How about giving them working conditions so that they don't have to piss and shit in bottles and bags, and like literally they don't have to like get their steps counted or their time counted away as time off task when they have to go to the goddamn bathroom? How about not making them work 12-hour days constantly? How about giving them paid time off for when they get sick? How about giving them paid parental leave for when they have children? I mean, there's a million. That is a better vision for your employee success, Jeff Bezos. How about that?
The criticism is actually good because I think it's made him alter his approach.
Bezos' trip was the second commercial spaceflight in a little more than a week, perhaps getting us one step closer to civilian space tourism.
In a way, it's frustrating because we have such urgent problems on Earth right now, including climate change. And here Bezos is thinking centuries in the future, maybe we can have an...
I'm sure that these books are so fantastic. The Amazon's Everything Store, the Jeff Bezos in the Age of Amazon. Like this is like a hagiographer. This is like the personal biographer of Jeff Bezos right here.
Orbiting space station, but he believes that you can do both.
One of the seats on today's launch was auctioned off for a whopping $28 million. When the original ticket holder pulled out, citing scheduling conflicts, that paved the way for the...
I paid $28 million for a ticket, but actually I didn't realize that I had a schedule. I had something else that day.
Second highest bidder to take his spot, allowing 18-year-old Oliver Damon from Amsterdam to become the youngest person to go to space.
He was a bit more emotional than I would have thought.
Oliver, welcome.
His father, Joost Damon, who paid for the ticket, is a millionaire Dutch businessman and the founder and CEO of the hedge fund Somerset Capital Partners.
A fucking hedge fund fail son gets to go to space.
It does seem like for the foreseeable future, Blue Origin wants to kind of run auctions and give it to the highest bidder. Who knows how long that will last?
Oh yeah, man. Marketizing space exploration, like in terms of who can go. I love it.
Even at $300,000, that's a pretty pricey 10-minute vacation.
Anusha Ansari, who went to space in 2006, knows firsthand how expensive these trips can be.
At that time, the cost of the tickets were about $20 million. However, because of supply and demand, the cost has gone up significantly.
While many people have criticized investment in space tourism, Ansari says it is critical.
I believe that it's short-sighted for us to say, why aren't we spending on other things? It's not a question of either or. We need to invest in both. We need this desire of exploration and gaining knowledge and furthering humanity.
Bezos says the millions made from today's trip will be donated with the goal to inspire future generations to pursue careers in STEM and help invent the future of life in space.
For anyone who doesn't believe space has touched their lives, I think they just need to look around them and see the technologies they use today, whether it's entertainment and TV services, their banking system, the GPS system in their cars, all of this.
That's got nothing to do with Jeff Bezos going to space, though. Like, it's literally like program. I mean, a lot of that is private shit because a lot of these private companies have basically been given carte blanche to do everything. But like the government has essentially just become like the regulator. Like they're not even a part of this. They're not even a part of the project anymore, other than like making the rules, which is important, but like it's not leading the way. It's
have been developed because of the space program.
Bezos is also creating the Bezos Earth Fund, centered around climate change and sustainability. He hopes that a better life here on Earth and beyond could soon be within our orbit.
We're going to build a road to space so that our kids and their kids can build the future. This is not about escaping Earth. And if you go into space and see how fragile it is, you'll want to take care of it even more. And that's what this is about. And this is going to take decades. This is a big vision, but big things start small.
Holy fucking shit, dude. All right, fine. Enough of this. But yeah. So here's what some of the workers have said. Apparently there's some responses from workers on this. For some, the feeling isn't mutual. So after Amazon and Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos flew into suborbital space, fake space, for around 3 minutes. 3 minutes, dude? Come on. He thanked some of the people who helped him get there, Amazon's employees and customers. Quote, yeah, we already saw the quote. For many workers who heard Bezos' comments, the feeling wasn't mutual. Multiple Amazon employees told Insider there appeared to be little interest in the launch and that they wished Bezos would have spent the money on virtually anything else, like paying Amazon workers better. I heard he was going to space, but to be honest, I didn't really care. An employee at Amazon's JFK 8 warehouse in Staten Island told Insider, adding, and that's one of the ones that's organizing a union right now too, as well, by the way. Me and my coworkers were joking that he should just go to Jupiter and live his best life there. That fucking rules. People certainly weren't rushing to the TV to watch. One Amazon warehouse employee in Indiana told Insider, quote, I guess it was just a big deal for Jeff. We didn't get anything out of it. 20 minute flight to space on us is basically since 20-minute flight to space on us basically since we do the work. Hell yeah, get his ass. Amazon and Blue Origin did not immediately respond to requests for comments on this story. Most of Bezos' wealth is tied up in roughly 51.7 million shares of Amazon stock he owns, shares that have risen to more than $3,549 a piece since the company's IPO price of $18 in 1997. Bezos, so basically he just got money off of fucking like stocks, just like every billionaire. And Bezos previously said, quote, he liquidates around, we saw this, around $1 billion worth of stock per year to fund Blue Origin. Wow. Wow, that's so cool, man. But some workers said they've paid for the success of Amazon and by extension Blue Origin in other ways that they're not too happy about. I guess he's thanking us for putting the money in his pocket to do so by our hard work, sacrificing our bonuses and stock options to make it possible. An Amazon employee in Indiana said. Amazon's hourly warehouse employees aren't eligible for stock options or bonuses. And here's another quote. I feel like he just said that because he had a guilty conscience. He knows he's wrong for making money off treating workers like slaves. Hell yeah, somebody in Staten Island said. Referencing the grueling and potentially dangerous conditions at some Amazon worker encounter. And again, serious injuries on the job. Yeah. We saw this. I mean, like literally they wanted to get the monitoring shit also to make sure that their movements are like as efficient as possible. Like crazy stuff. Amazon has aggressively fought any efforts by its workers to unionize, despite evidence showing unions typically increase wages and can help address racial and gender pay gaps. They don't give a fuck. They do not give a fuck. As other critics of Bezos' spaceflight since Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and New York Rep. Alexander AOC said, American taxpayers have also subsidized Amazon and Blue Origin. This is good. Here, let's just read the quotes. Quote, I can think of a lot of other things he could do with all that money he spent on it. Better wages for starters and homeless, the poor, mental health. That's from another Amazon employee. Here's another one. I think it's selfish of him to be so self-consumed to send himself to space when there are so many homeless and hungry people in the world. He could end homelessness and hunger for everybody in the world, and he chooses not to because he's selfish, said Vicky Shannon Allen, a former Amazon employee who became homeless after a workplace injury and a long battle with Amazon over medical expenses. Yeah. So fuck Jeff Bezos. All my homies hate Jeff Bezos. AOC was pretty based on this one. After some fairly cringe takes on, we talked about this, some fairly cringe takes on Cuba. She actually had a pretty good take on this. Yes, Amazon did pay for this with lower wages, union busting, a frenzied and inhumane workplace, and delivery hours not having health insurance during a pandemic. And Amazon customers are paying for it, with Amazon abusing their market power to hurt small businesses. Yeah, that's based AOC right there. So there you go. All right, folks. That's going to be it for me. I think I'm going to shut it down. I got a little longer show than usual. Like I said, I'm going to try and do weekends. I failed this weekend, but I want to get more into it. But yeah, let's go ahead and raid Bleep Blomp Ben. I don't think we rated him.
Seriously.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Let's do giggling. Can't believe it. We're still gonna rate him though. But yeah, you should become a supporter of Good Morning Comrade. You can do so by going to patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade Radio. You can be like our current supporters, whom include Ty Jitty, Michael H, Dan O, Jonathan H, Timothy C, Dragon Slayer 19, Andy L, Gary W, Kenneth F, Adam R, Trey M, Watermelon Pickle, and Penelope C. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get. I'll get Ben. I got Ben yesterday. I got Dan yesterday. I'll get Ben today. But yeah, y'all go ahead and check out Ben. Have a great day. Love you all. Bye.
California, like straight up, like yo, what is up? Good morning, Comrade Radio. How you doing today? I hope you are enjoying this lovely morning. We are talking about climate change. We're talking about climate change right now, okay? And this is really wild, really wild stuff right here. We are lingering on this person's name and their job title in responding to the drought in California. This person works for a company called Self-Help Enterprises. Everybody, by the way, please go give a follow to Good Morning Comrade Radio. Please give a follow to Good Morning Comrade Radio. Absolute fantastic content creator who you shall check out.
A gallon of water at your sink, and so you just have to conserve your water and brush your teeth with a cup. It's like camping in your own home.
But this drought isn't just drying up small private wells. This area, the San Joaquin Valley, is one of the most important agricultural regions in America. Farmers here produce a bounty of food. There are miles and miles of nut and fruit trees across the valley, and millions of beef and dairy cows. Agriculture is an over $50 billion industry in California, and it's a thirsty one, using roughly half the state's total water supply.
And so